It's no secret that cars are under siege. The crossover SUV market is decimating the number of sedans out there. For the Canadian market, having an all-wheel drive sedan might mitigate some of that crossover domination.
Are you saying that these are crossover replacements?
I am saying that you could replace a crossover with either of these two all-wheel drive sedans.
What do we have here? What's that one?
It is a 2021 Camry XLS all-wheel drive.
And this is the 2021 Kia K5, also with all-wheel drive. In fact, these cars are pretty close. They're both all-wheel drive sedans, they're both mid-sizers, they're both within $1,500 of each other as tested. They both have 4-cylinder engines. I mean, they're really, really close. I think they're even close in terms of like cargo space, passenger space, horsepower, fuel economy, you name it, they're close. So how are we gonna find a way to set these cars apart? What makes them different? Like, we know that they are very close in a lot of ways, but what is different between these two cars?
Biggest difference is under the hood. A 1.6 liter turbo 4-cylinder.
And that has a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder.
That's right.
One makes more horsepower, one makes more torque. One gets better highway fuel mileage, the other gets better city fuel mileage. They're a wash in terms of the numbers, but they drive pretty different from each other.
I think the Camry is more sedate. Let's call it that way.
I would agree.
You want to say it's an old person's car? I would personally find that offensive. But it's definitely a mature car. You go inside, you look at it, you sit, and all the controls are there. You get in, it's just easy to drive away. You don't have to think about it.
There is no learning curve to driving a Toyota Camry. You hop in, you put it in D, you drive happy. And the other thing I've noticed is that the Camry drives smoother than the Kia. I mean, neither of these are like really bouncy cars, but that is an exceptionally good ride, which is impressive considering it's on 19-inch wheels.
Really, as sporty looking as both these cars are, especially the Camry, because Clayton is right, previous generations have been boring as dirt. You go to the inside, you go to the cabin, it's pretty somber. Certainly with the all black interior, it seems as if it was designed for a more mature driver.
I mean, it's a very simple experience, really. There's no confusion, but there's also no excitement in the interior. And it also kind of lags behind in some of the tech aspects. It does have Apple CarPlay, it does have wireless charging, but it doesn't have wireless CarPlay. So what's the point of being able to charge your phone without a cord if you have to plug it in to use it on the screen? And when you do use it on the screen, you're using Apple CarPlay, the display is very grainy. The resolution isn't very good, and it's just not a great interface to use. Whereas, step inside the Kia. It's all fake, but you have very pleasing fake wood. You have very pleasing fake aluminum trim. It's got a D-shaped steering wheel. I know I'm being lied to, but these are good lies.
Granted, you get into that and say, hey, this is cool, I feel sporty.
It looks nice. It's a place you want to hang out in. Yeah. The interfacing with the phone is better. It's a clearer display. I think it's a little bit smaller than the Camrys, but it's better to use. I like the hard buttons on the side of the screen, and there's just so many neat touches in here. I like the soundscapes. I always like making my car sound like a rainy forest or a busy cafe. That is a neat trick. I like it. But the interior in the K5, a cut above the Camry. I think we both agree.
Yeah. Okay, we've talked about the looks, inside and out, very sporty. The driving experience, not so much. Face it, these are not the equivalent of a European sports sedan. These are family sedans, no doubt about it.
Correct. They're not dazzling driving experiences, but I don't think that's what these cars are all about, and that's okay. You know, the big difference between these two and how they drive comes down to two things, which is ride quality and the engine characteristics. like I said, despite having bigger wheels on the Camry, it does ride smoother. You notice it over potholes, and it is a calmer experience because of that bigger engine on the highway. It doesn't have to downshift as much, there isn't as much engine noise. If you have a lot of highway driving to do, especially on bumpy highways, that's a really good flyer. Whereas this one, a little bit more of an athletic experience. The engine has to shift more. It's a turbo engine. It's very small. It's 1.6. It has to shift a lot to move this thing around, even though it does weigh considerably lighter than the Camry.
That's the one thing. I did not like the engine note. Yeah, power-wise, well, you have to dip into the throttle for both of these cars if you're, say, merging onto a highway.
Powerhouses.
No, not at all. No, 206 horsepower versus 180.
Yes.
Okay.
But this makes more torque, this makes less torque. It evens out.
Exactly.
Now, we try not to talk about reliability of new cars on these comparisons because they're brand new, and typically we don't really know what the reputation for these cars is going to be like. And we're not a testing publication that buys cars and drives them for tens of thousands of kilometers. It's not really what we do. So we usually try not to comment on it, but in this special case, the Camry 4-cylinder has such a sterling reputation for lasting longer than Twinkies that we really have to bring up that, you know, of these two cars, which one is more likely to go 1,000,000 kilometers? You know which one you're gonna pick. So what I want to do now is, this has been a really close race, but I want to run down each of the categories as we were, and let's call the winner in each category. So let's start from the top. Appearance.
K5.
Agreed. Engine.
Camry.
Ride quality.
Camry.
Interior design.
K5.
Interior space.
K5.
Technology.
Probably K5.
I would agree as well. Value.
That is a hard one.
I'm calling that one a draw.
Pretty much. Camry's about $1,500 more expensive, trim to trim. And this is the GT line, and this is the XLS, just to clarify.
And I think that we would agree, though, for once, Brian and I would agree, that the winner would be the K5 with the Camry engine.
As much as I like the K5, and as I said to Clayton earlier, if I was 35 years younger, I'd be all over this car. I'm not. I look in terms of longevity, reliability, and I just have to give the nod to the Camry.
I just find that throughout the car, the Kia is better contented. I have more features, I have a more refined interior, and you know, as a driving experience, this turbocharged small engine, I don't think it's as fun as the big naturally aspirated engine from the Camry. Take a break for an actual Camry. They are literally everywhere. So I hate saying we have a tie, but you really can't blame us this time. It's just so close.
On that note, for Driving.ca, I'm Brian Harper.
And for Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams. And for more comparisons, car reviews, and information, don't forget to follow Driving.ca on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to tell us what we should compare next in the comments.